Hey everyone, welcome to CSE 391. My name is Hunter Schaefer and I'm going to be your instructor this quarter. I already mentioned in my welcome email that we're going to be running this course a little bit differently than what courses you might have seen in the past, where all the content is really going to be delivered in these series of asynchronous videos that I'm going to be pre-recording. This doesn't mean that there aren't people involved in this class here to help you. I'm going to be here. We have a TA named David that I'll introduce in a little bit that's also going to be here to help you get as much as you can out of this course. And so in this first video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how the course is going to work. And in the next videos for today, I'm going to be talking about kind of what types of things you're going to expect to learn in this course and introduce us to our first kind of ideas in this world of Linux. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my slide view right now. So this is CSE 391, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the syllabus. And I first have to start by thanking Josh Irvin, who is a previous TA of mine and an instructor for this course, who really did a lot of work in making these slides really, really great, and I basically could just borrow them from him. So all of these great slide designs were from Josh. So going ahead. So today, in this video, I'm going to introduce some of the introduction to our syllabus and kind of course administration. We're going to talk a little bit about how learning remotely in Zoom is going to look. And then in the remaining videos for today, we're going to introduce kind of the actual concepts of Unix, Linux, this bash shell thing. It's okay if you don't know those terms. That's why you're here. So CSE 391, our course website is found here. You could always use web URLs like this to get to any of your CSE websites. But if you just click on these slides, which if you got to these videos already, you probably found them from our course website. This is your one-stop shop for everything about this course. It has the calendar. It's going to have links to these videos. It's going to have links to any other tools you might need. So this is going to be the place you're going to be looking. So 391 is all about teaching you this collection of things called Linux tools. The point of having it in a course like CSE 391 is that they're vital to know in order to be an effective developer or effective researcher, but we don't really have time to kind of teach them in other places in the curriculum. So many of you are probably taking CSE 351 right now, the hardware software interface, and this is probably your first class in the Allen School that really needs you to know how to be comfortable in a command line environment. And our job here is to make you ready for command line work. We're not necessarily prepping you to be a better 351 student. We're not teaching you about binary or writing programs in C or the memory models of how computers work. But our job is to make you comfortable in the terminal, because that's not a skill that's just useful in 351, but kind of for the rest of your career. I'll kind of mention right now, this course is a bit weird in the sense that you are not going to be a master of these topics by the end of it. Being a master of these types of tools takes lots and lots of practice, and our goal is to just set you on that journey so that you have the language, you have the resources to go learn things on your own in the future, when inevitably in 2 years or 3 years, we're using slightly different tools, but you understand the core concepts, and that's kind of our goal here. This class is credit, no credit. Means that it's not graded on a 4.0 scale. It just shows up as a C or an NC on your transcript. I'll talk a little bit on the next slide about how you earn credit. It's just based off our homework assignments. And all of the course content will be coming from these videos. You don't need any textbook, but this textbook that we recommend as optional is actually a really handy dandy one. I actually have it on my bookshelf over there. I'm gonna go grab it. You can see I wasn't actually prepared for this, but it looks like this. As it's a nice little book, very well organized, really nice thing to have at the side of your desk to always look things up. You can see, because I've been doing this for a while, I don't really need it right next to me. But it's optional, it's not required. You can save it if you want it for later, whatever you choose. Okay, so how are you being assessed in this class? This class is credit, no credit. There are weekly homework assignments. So learning actually does take work. I would not say that you have learned the material after watching a day of lectures. Learning requires active participation. If you've ever had a class with me before, I always compare learning anything, including programming, to learning how to ride a bike. No one learns how to ride bikes by watching a bunch of pre-recorded videos on bikes and then maybe coming to class to ask questions and discuss with peers. That's not how learning how to ride a bike works. To learn how to ride a bike, you actually gotta go out there and ride the bike. So I'm here in these videos to introduce you to concepts, but learning happens by doing, and you're gonna do the learning on the homework assignment. So you take the concepts that we taught you in these videos and you apply them in practice. So there are gonna be 9 homework assignments in total every week. Each one's worth 2 points. I'm gonna release them right after class, and they're due right before the next class to kind of keep you on track for kind of watching the videos, coming to class. That's just the general schedule we use. Those 9 homework assignments I said are worth 2 points. You get 1 point for a reasonable attempt at most of the questions, and 2 points for attempting all the questions, and most of them are correct. Now, what does most mean? Well, for pretty much every single assignment, we have an autograder that runs when you turn it in, and it tells you if you get 0, 1, or 2 points. So once you see for an assignment, whether you got 2 points, you know you're done in terms of getting the 2 required points for that assignment. There are 1 or 2 assignments when we get to this thing called Git that we have to grade manually. And so you're not going to get your score right away. So as long as you follow the instructions, you're fine. But just wanted to give you a heads up that most of these assignments are autograded. You'll know your score right away. Now, we don't accept any late work for this class. This class, we want you to be focusing on the concepts for the week, and when a new week rolls around, we're going to start new concepts. We don't want you to be thinking about the assignments from last week and going back and forth. We don't accept late work because we have a generous policy for when it comes to earning credit in this course. So I have at the bottom here, let me turn my little pointer on. There are going to be 18 possible points with those 9 assignments, each worth 2 points. To get credit for the course, you only need 14. So the difference between 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, it's all the same. It turns out as a C. Anything below that will be a no credit. So you have plenty of opportunities. If you slip up and you forget an assignment, it's okay. You just need those 14 points. Okay? And we also will have some extra credit opportunities. For example, this one right now, our homework 0, is worth 1 point towards your 14. So you can earn an extra point by finishing that homework 0 I shared on our announcement. Now, going back, collaboration in this class is encouraged. So all of the work you should submit, it should be your own. You shouldn't ever copy someone else's or claim that you did work that you otherwise didn't. Now, we want you to talk to each other. We want you to collaborate. We want you to learn from each other. That's really, really important. But again, don't copy. And so I actually have on our course website, if you go back here to our course website, go to our syllabus, and you go to our academic integrity policy, we give you some examples of good and bad collaboration that you should think about as a framework moving forward. So it's definitely okay to talk about things at a high level, but it's definitely not okay to say, here's the exact commands I typed for this problem. And one thing I recommend is a really good sanity check is whenever you talk to someone about a homework problem at a high level, it's a good idea to, not write down, oh, they said I need to think about ls or whatever this command that I was working with was. Don't write that stuff down. Instead, go take a break. Go do something mindless or something mindful, like go listen to a podcast or anything, do yoga. And then when you come back, try to reconstruct kind of what you think the process is. And if you're able to reconstruct that process, it means you've learned it and done it yourself. So we always recommend maybe taking a break before diving in and just solving the problem right after your discussion. Okay. And if you ever have questions about collaboration, you can always reach out to us and ask. If you feel like something is I'm not sure if this is okay, we can talk to you about that. And it's better if you do that earlier than later. So how do you reach out and ask us questions? So we're going to have this discussion board on Ed. It's where I'll send all my emails to the course. This is the best possible place for you to get help outside of our scheduled office hours, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. But Ed is the place to go. You're also encouraged to help other students. Ed is a discussion board and not a question-answer board. And so in the discussion board, you're able to pitch in ideas, reply to comments, and really discuss kind of what you think is going on, what you think the best way might be. We encourage you to participate in the class in this way. For personal questions, you can also post privately on the discussion board, and that will just show up to me and David, our TA. But basically, every question should be posted on Ed. There's very rarely a case where you should feel the need to email me. Obviously, if it's like some serious personal circumstance, you can definitely feel free to email me. I'll definitely talk to you one-on-one in that scenario. But for almost every question about the class, it's probably appropriate to put it on Ed, either publicly or privately. Okay? And so please don't be upset if I ever say, hey, that's a great question for the message board. Please go post there instead. So speaking of who's going to be helping you this quarter, who is on the course staff? So first, there's me. I'm Hunter Schaefer. I kind of already introduced myself. You can find my email here and on the course website, including also my office hours. And we have an awesome TA joining us this quarter, David Chen. You can see his email and his office hours. So my office hours are Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings, and his office hours are on Sunday. And I'll send, on the course website, we have instructions for how to join our office hours via Zoom. You basically have to just click a link on a website. It takes you to this other website called Canvas, and then you click a link on there for the appropriate office hours. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in this video mostly is kind of how remote learning is going to work this quarter. So remote learning in 391 this quarter, all of the lecture content is going to happen in these videos. They're going to be pre-recorded, and we're going to put them on this tool that you're watching this on right now called Item Pool. You don't need an account or anything to use Item Pool. The reason I want Item Pool is it actually has these really nice ways for me to embed questions, which I'm actually going to show you how to do right after this. And I can kind of give you a chance to test your understanding, see if things are how you're kind of following along with the material. Because remember, learning doesn't happen by listening, it happens by doing it. So this should give you opportunities to pause, think about what you've heard, synthesize it, and that is actually the process of learning. So you can watch these videos at your own pace. I don't recommend watching them too fast. I'm kind of a fast talker, so I don't think I can really listen to myself at 1.5 speed, but you do you, whatever you want. And those test your understanding questions are for you to learn. They're not worth points or anything, but I do recommend doing them because that's how learning actually works. Then our live class sessions that are going to happen during our scheduled class time, these are going to be more Q&A and discussion based. So it's not going to be me sharing a bunch of things about content in the class. That's what these videos are for. I might do a little bit of recap and then have chances for people to discuss and ask questions about this material, because that's where the really exciting stuff comes out for 391. A lot of the what if questions and can I do this, because these tools are kind of give you a limitless opportunities to explore with them, and we can do that together. So you're encouraged to come being prepared after watching those pre-recorded lecture videos. And then the lessons will be on Item Pool. They'll be linked from our course calendar. To access the live lectures and the office hours, or the live Q&A sessions, I shouldn't call those lectures, is going to be on the Zoom tab of the course website. It tells you how to get to those. And then we will also be recording those Q&A sessions so that you can always go back and watch them if you couldn't quite make it one day. I would probably say, I think the real value for coming to the Q&A session is actually being able to be there discussing with peers and getting the chance to ask questions. I don't think those recordings are going to be super, super crucial, but we're going to have them there just in case. But we do not record office hours because that's more discussion with a one-on-one discussion with a student. Okay, so with that, now that I've talked about all of our administrative details, how this is going to work, I want to show us our first Item Pool question. So Item Pool lets me insert these questions into the video. So I'm still talking right now, but in a few moments, it's actually going to pause itself. And I'm going to basically prompt a question, and I want you to stop, think, reflect, and try to answer it. And Item Pool will tell you whether or not you're right. And if I remember correctly, it will show you an explanation why or why not something is correct. And really think about not just the answer, but the why and the how. For this question, it's just a simple syllabus question. It's not very deep and insightful. But thinking about that why and how is really important. So right now, the Item Pool video is going to pause. I'm going to ask you to type in a number. Okay, great. So hopefully you're able to get there. You need 14 points to earn credit for the course out of the 18 possible. And how if you ever find out any questions about the syllabus or about syllabus information, you could just always go to cse.uw.edu/391. I'll take you to our course website where you can always check things in the syllabus. That's all I have for this video. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to introduce some Linux and Bash things.